Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and fellow humans. Welcome back to Stranded Survivors. My name is Matt. I'm one of your co hosts.
And my name is Jericho. I'm a co-host of the Stranded Survivors podcast. Matt, how are you doing today, man?
Dude, I am mentally drained. Work's tough and exhausting and all that fun stuff, but my family has been battling sickness after sickness after sickness. We went from RSV to pink eye to sinus infections to the flu to, just if you name it, I feel like we've gotten it in the past 2 weeks or so. And by we, I mean my kids and my wife. I apparently ate five too many Flintstone vitamins as a kid and did not get any of that as it was all going through my house and I was caring for everybody. So I don't, shout out to my body for that. That's cool and all. But it has been very, very mentally taxing taking care of everyone, but it's what you do. So I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying, I'm tired, man.
I bet, man, you really have just been dealing with a lot of sickness, taking care of the fam. I know that you've been very busy, and like you said, work is it's been a little crazy.
Dude, for sure. And on that note, I mean, all work aside, how are you?
Honestly, I'm doing good. The wife's out tonight, well, not out, but she's staying at her sister's because she's got clinical in the morning. And other than
Okay.
that, I've just been kind of chilling. I have been playing PvP Ark. Really not done a bunch of progress necessarily. I just go hide in the swamp in a little metal base with all the mods and just kind of do my own thing and just stay in a hidden base. I don't even build turrets. I've been there for now a week and a half on a server that has always over 60, 70 plus people. Nobody's attacked me. The only thing that has attacked me has been a stupid wild dire bear. That's it.
Really?
Yeah, I got a good hiding spot.
I was gonna say that must be a really solid spot then.
Yeah, and other than that, really quickly today, I hopped on the official server and was like, I have not hopped on in a long time, and so it's fun just to hop on there, do a little meat run, do a little metal run because the love event is now available. So
Oh yeah. That's always a good event. I really like the colors that are associated with it, and it's always got some pretty interesting skins and drops and stuff like that. So that's a fun event. I enjoy that one.
yeah, it is pretty fun. And they added this little thing called the love bug, and it shoots you. I don't know. It's kind of annoying, but it's cool.
What does it do when it shoots you? Like, what effect does
It
that
it
have?
damages you. It tries to kill you.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
That seemed par for the course though, because I mean, we had the Grinch thingy, and then we had the whatever the Yeti or whatever the thing was that everybody was trying to kill.
Yep.
Turkey. Like it seems to be par for the course that they're giving us some monster to kill, and we'll try to kill you every single event. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, honestly, it is nice that they're adding at least these little tiny things to make it a little more interesting.
Yeah, I have to agree. It breaks up the mundane meat run, that's for sure.
That is for sure.
Man, well, speaking of breaking up the mundane, I want to make a little announcement. Or we want to make a little announcement here. So, lately, the past few episodes, we've been interviewing some cool people. That's been really awesome. But the episodes that we have not been interviewing people, we sort of have been kind of in a lull for content, trying to figure out what's next for the game and where to go and stuff like that. And we got some feedback from people in our Discord, we got some feedback from Hop, and I think that we are in the process of making the show a little bit more organized and a little bit better. And today is the first episode where we're breaking out a bunch of those changes. So we are going to have new segments. We're going to have new things going on in this episode. And we're going to get back to the bread and butter of bringing you guys informative content rather than, news updates all the time.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm really looking forward to this because, we've talked about it here for the last little bit of, kind of wanting to get back on track and just being on a schedule. And I think overall, this is going to be a better listening experience for everyone listening. So make sure you guys check out these new segments we have. I think some of them are pretty funny, and some of them is going to keep you guessing.
Yes, the mystery. Well, I'd say without further ado, let's sort of, want to shimmy on into the next one here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so speaking of new segments, the first one that we are going to do today, we're going to start our Dino Dossier info. So this is going to be every single week, we're going to tackle one of the dossiers, whatever they are in the game, and we're going to bring you all the information from that dossier. We're going to tell you everything about that tame, what its use is, all the little hidden aspects of it and stuff like that. So for the first one, we are talking about otters this week. I know, surprising. I'm obsessed with otters. I talk about them nonstop. But it says here. Sorry, it's a little dark in my booth here. I'm trying to read this. I'm an old man and I wrote all my notes down on paper and had them printed off and crap like that. So, alright, so dossier info is, it says wild. Found along the island's many inland waterways, Luchapaloso have become exceptionally adept at hunting and foraging. This species of otter has to be particularly cunning because of its diminutive size and fierce competition for its preferred food source, fish. It is not a creature that excels at combat and would not naturally pose an intimidating threat to any predators. Finding packs of river otters is simple enough. They are distinguished by their elongated bodies, bushy tails, and webbed feet. They're so adorable. Their thrusting and intrusive nature ensures that Their trusting and intuitive nature. Their trusting and inquisitive nature ensures that they are often hunted for their lustrous fur, but many prefer to tame them and become trusted companions. Domesticated, it says there are few creatures which provide the companionship that Luchapaloso does. Rather than traveling beside you, it would prefer to comfortably rest upon your back, providing insulation. Once domesticated, it can be told to harvest fish on demand with a specific goal in mind. From the fish that it consumes, the otter has a knack for foraging silica pearls, and you can even yield a slight chance at finding black pearls within. So that's the full dossier information when you find it in the world at, fun fact, 35.7 latitude, 59.10 longitude. It's going to pull up that little notebook journal entry, and that is the entry that it's going to have written. So Luchapaloso is the species of the otter. It is from the early Miocene time period. It's an omnivore, more particularly a piscator, fish, and it's got a pretty friendly temperament. So, for starters, just the dossier itself. What do you have to say about that, Jericho?
Honestly, overall, after you reading it, I mean, I played Ark for a while, but I did not know that it had anything to do with silica pearls. I only thought it had some to do with just, kind of a cool pet on your shoulder.
Dude, yeah, there are. Okay, so one of the many reasons I obsess over this thing. First off, when you want to tame it, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a passive tame with raw fish, and you have to drag the fish over to it to tame it, right?
Yes, you do.
Okay. And I don't know if it still works this way in Survival Ascended, but I know you used to be able to shoot the otter with a grappling hook, and you could sort of keep it close by when you were taming it that way. I don't know if that still works. I haven't personally tried it in this game, but I recommend you try that just in case. When you're looking for them, they're going to be found pretty much in any river on the island, but they're most common in that thicker river. Let me pull up my map here. It's like the thicker river right in the middle of the map between the volcano and north of the redwoods. They are most common there on this map. So first off, they're fishermen, okay? Like we had said earlier, you can throw them in the water, and they are going to be able to hunt all the fish for you. And when they do that, Jericho, I know you said you didn't know this, but fun fact, they are a 4-star gatherer of pearls and a 3-star gatherer of black pearls.
Like, they can gather them and not craft them, or what?
Yeah, they gather them from the fish. So like when you throw them in a pond, I don't recommend you do it in like the open ocean, but if you throw them in like a little pond or like a very small body of water that has the coelacanth fish in it, it
Hmm.
will swim around if you have it set proper. I think it's a whistle setting. Maybe you do aggressive or something like that, but it will swim around, and when it harvests all of the crap from the fish that it kills, it will occasionally pull out pearls and rarely pull out black pearls from it.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I wonder how much it actually gets you though.
I know it's not enough to be like a tribe's main source, but when you're first starting off, if you really just need a little bit of black pearls, I mean, over time, if you live near a lake or a river that's going to have a constant and consistent access to these fish, it's all going to be stuff that adds up over time that will be awesome, but it's not something that I would recommend you rely on for your only source, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Um, the next nifty part about them, it said they are an insulator in the dossier. Now, when we say insulator, QC Survivor and I talked about that in the caving episode, and if you haven't listened to that one, go back and listen to it because that was a good one. But level up the melee in them because every 100% melee is 75 to 82 hypothermic, which is against the cold, and 34 to 38 hyperthermic, which is against the heat. So they protect against both, better against the cold than they do the heat, but they still protect for both.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that installation is something we're going to get into later because for our, main title content, we're talking about armor today. So insulation is going to be a big aspect of armor, and we'll get into that later. The next nifty part about them, they can hold artifacts. And most creatures can only hold like one of each type of artifact at a time. But correct me if I'm wrong, I believe otters are not limited to that. I'm pretty sure they can hold as many artifacts as their weight allows them to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I remember hearing when I was, back when people started introducing me to the creature. So as long as that's still a thing in Survival Ascended, that is correct.
Yeah. And speaking of their weight, everything they carry, again, unless I'm mistaken, is half weight. So you can stick stuff on them and make them sort of a beast of burden. And everything they have in their bag, being half weight, can then go around your neck and give you half weight on that. So whatever you can load them up with is a good way to sort of take a little bit of the burden off of you if you haven't put as many levels into your weight.
Yeah, and the only thing with that though is then you have to really decide, right? Is do you want to upgrade the melee for the hypothermic or the hypo, or do you want to upgrade the weight just so you know you don't have to carry as much? You can, well, you're able to carry more technically.
I say each person should have their own mated pair of otters, and you should have one for melee and one for weight. So that way, depending on if you're going caving or if you're going someplace where you need the insulation, you can carry that one. But if you're going taming or something, you can take the one that has weight on you.
That's actually a good idea.
And they're a sidekick. How can you go wrong with one of the cutest little anything that sits on your shoulder like that is absolutely adorable. And when you look at the dossier picture of it, she I think it's Helena. That looks like Helena. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Watch, I'm gonna be wrong now, but whoever it is has included some sketches of them, and there's one where it's like laying on its back in the grass, holding a little fish above its head, and another one where it's laying there licking its paw, and it's just so cute, man. I don't care if I lose my man card for saying that. It is adorable.
The thing does look pretty good.
Like I said, that dossier is at 35.7 latitude, 59.10 longitude, and that is the first one we are going to cover. I believe there are 125 on the island, so we're not going to get to all of them, so don't rely on us as your only guide for how to find them all, but we're going to hit one a week. And when the center comes out, we're going to start doing some of the ones from the center, I'm sure, because that's where we're going to spend at least most of my time. Um, but yeah, this is one of the new segments we're doing, so let us know what you think about that. So, I have pulled up the wiki here, and it's the Ark official wiki, and it sort of has a lot of information. I want to go through some of the information here, what it has word for word and what it says, and then I would like to sort of elaborate on that information, Jericho, as we go, because there's going to be times where we can chime in, and you were mentioning some things about the drops earlier, so we'll elaborate as we go. But yeah, we're going to try to cover as much as we can. So any questions you have about armor theoretically should be covered here in the next half hour or so. There's lots of different types of armor in this game. You're going to start off as a beach bob who's a little naked out on the beach there, and you're eventually going to craft yourself up based on your level and the availability of resources to you. And we've got cloth armor, then hide, fur, ghillie, chitin, flak, scuba, riot, and tech armor are all of the armor that you're going to see in Survival Ascended as of the time of recording. This is subject to change when Scorched Earth comes out and when, Genesis comes out and stuff like that. But as of the time of recording, those are all of the available tiers. And I think it would make the most sense for us just to roll down, starting with the lowest level one, and then work our way up to tech being the last one we cover, if that makes sense.
Yeah, honestly, I think that makes perfect sense here. And so, first, the trusty, the cloth gear, very easy to unlock. You unlock it right at level 3. And the rating of the armor, like, how much it can, kind of protect you from things it's 40. Honestly, I mean, that's not very high compared to some of these others on the list, but there's also a reason that cloth gear or cloth armor is just so low.
That's actually, yes, there is a reason that it's so low, but it's actually 50. That was a misprint that I had found in there. It's 50 for the cloth. I forgot to tell you that earlier.
Really?
Yeah, it was a a misprint. There are 5 pieces of the armor: the hat, chest, legs, boots, and like cloth wrap thingies for your hands, and each one provides 10.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. Got it wrong on their own wiki?
Yeah, it was weird. It's the community wiki, so I mean, technically speaking, we as a community done go and got it wrong, but somebody had corrected it somewhere, and I just don't know if they hadn't updated it yet. But I read it. I don't know if it's on the next page of it. Yeah, it's on the next page of it. When you look at the specs for it, it says provides 10 armor points per piece, 50 total, drops from level 3 at the blah 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 blah, and we'll get into more of that here in a second. But yeah, it's weird how they got it wrong in their own wiki, right?
That is kind of weird, yeah.
All right, sorry to interrupt you. I just went off on a tangent there. You were saying though it's so weak for a reason, and go.
Yeah, so like I was saying though, this is just so weak for a reason, and it's because you get at such a low level, and it's really not that great on protection of the cold. It's going to be 50, and heat protection is 60, at least I think. Could be wrong.
Yeah,
Weight is only 3 though. The weight is not, I mean, it's very light to carry, and the durability on it is 25. So after about 25 hits, you're done for. It's your armor's breaking. I mean, even before 25 hits, depending on what is attacking you. You can get these out of white drops though, which is nice because I mean, then you don't have to make it, but honestly, you don't need to get it out of a white drop. You might as well unlock it in your Ingrams and
yeah.
just use it instead of getting it from a white drop. You're probably going to be a little bit upset if you get it from a white drop, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Have you ever looked into the equation that goes into armor durability and like how much it can take before it breaks? Have you ever looked into the math behind that?
No, honestly, I just assumed that it depended on like how much damage and different things. I don't know.
So I did too until today when I was doing research for this episode. And fun fact of the day, there, you know how I always say every single episode, somebody way smarter than me has done blah blah blah. Well, this is one of those cases where the protection from the damage has a modifier that is a full-blown equation. And for those of you that are much more mathematical minded than I am, I recommend you look into that equation. But it says here it is the EHP, which is effective health points resulting from the armor's protection, is calculated as the HP times 100 plus the armor, so that armor rating that you just listed, times the coefficient divided by 100. So
Wow,
for a
that's a
player
big
with,
time math equation.
yeah, for real. It breaks it down a little bit here, and it says for like a player with 100 health, 100 armor adds an additional 100 EHP. So 200 armor adds 200 EHP, or 2 times as much as the 100 armor. 300 would be 3 times as much, and so on and so forth. Um, and that effectively, like, if you have 70 armor, and there's that apparently gives you a damage modifier of 0.588, which is a 41.2% damage reduction, blah 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 blah. It really gets down into some nitty gritty science here, but long story short, the higher the number, the better it's going to be for mitigating that damage, and you'll receive a lower percentage of the damage that's oncoming.
Hmm. I'm glad there's people
Yeah.
that know how to do that.
Are you though? Because like I I don't know. I don't know anything about coding, and I hope somebody corrects me. Please do, because I would like to learn. Uh I feel like that's more than necessary, you know what I mean? But I also don't know anything about coding, so maybe that's exactly how that type of stuff works, but it sure seems like a lot of advanced math that I would not be interested in doing.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not interested at all. So,
Blah. Anyway, again, man, that's 2 tangents already. We're gonna be here forever if I continue to do this for every single rating. But
hmm.
we had mentioned they come from a white beacon, and if you didn't get it from the white drops and you want to craft it yourself, go ahead and get those engrams, and it's gonna cost you 145 fiber and 10 hide for the whole set.
Yeah, that's cheap.
It really is. That's of course on official settings. Is what all of these numbers are going to be. Okay. Man, moving on in. The second tier that you're going to unlock at level 15, so you're possibly still living on the beach, but you're now, getting some more solid equipment. You're starting to get some tames. You're doing good here. You're going to unlock that hide gear. There are 5 pieces. Each one gives you 20 armor for a total of 100. So now we're double the cloth armor here. It gives you 85 cold protection, but it gives you negative 25 heat protection, which means it will not protect you from the heat. It will, in fact, overheat you.
Mm,
So
makes sense, though.
that's important to remember. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense, yes. But if you're going to a warmer environment, hide gear, probably not the move. Cloth gear would actually be better, believe it or not. Even though it has the lower armor rating, as far as heat protection goes, it would be better. Um, for the weight, we're going from 3 at the cloth all the way up to 10.5 for the hide gear. So that's a big jump, but it's also double the armor rating, more than double the weight. So if you're concerned about weight, statistically that doesn't quite balance out, but defense is defense.
I
Um,
agree.
the durability for the hide gear is 45, so it still is not very tanky, but you're getting there. We're getting better.
Yeah, it's a lot. I
Uh,
mean, it's not there, but it's getting there, like you said. Honestly, I mean, what you get them, you get the hide out of green drops, and I mean that's level green drops are level 15 on the land. So I mean, you'll probably get a lot of these though. You really do get before you find a drop. You're probably going to be able to get these things quick. Like I mean, to get the hide gear, hide armor, it's 82 hide and 33 fiber. I mean, what? That's like 8 dodos.
yeah, that's 8 dodos if you're like, harvesting them by hand. If you have a crummy pickaxe and a hatchet, you could probably do it in viewer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not bad. What do we have next? Fur?
Yep.
Yeah, fur. Everybody loves them some good fur gear. So you hit level 23. You're trying to venture out into the snowy areas. You're trying to, do some cool stuff. There are 5 pieces of fur gear. Each one provides 40 armor. And for our math whizzes out there, that is 200 armor rating for a full set. Now, you see the huge jump here in cold protection, because I mean,
Yeah.
let's be real, fur gear. So 249 for the cold protection, and that is a primitive set on official settings. That is not with any of the fancy blueprints that you're going to find anywhere, anywhere nifty. Uh, but obviously, because it's fur and you have now become a human werewolf, you are going to get negative 105 heat protection. So
Oof,
that's going to make you very, very hot if you're in a warm area.
very.
Um, the other issue that you see in anybody who has collected hide versus pelt versus human hair and any of that fun stuff, you realize that it's much heavier. So fur gear, a full set, is going to cost you 34 in the weight slot there, and that is 3 times as much as the hide gear. So you get a significant boost, about 3 times the boost for cold protection, about twice the boost for armor rating, but about 3 times the weight.
And the weight to me, though, honestly, is a big game changer. Like, I understand fur is technically needed for the winter or, the snow biomes, but that weight, like, dude, 34 weight on an official server is actually quite a bit. And it is literally the second most weight on the whole list out of all these armors.
Yeah, and it actually says a lot for the only one that is heavier than this one, and it's not what I would have thought, to be honest with you.
Honestly, I wouldn't have thought this either. I really thought fur would be the heaviest one.
Yeah, it's just so heavy to make, but I mean, I guess when you look at the resource list for everything else, we'll get into those in a little bit, but I mean, yeah, it's real heavy. 34 is very heavy.
Yeah.
Um on the flip side though, a durability of 125, that is also the second strongest durability wise. That's a higher durability technically than tech armor is.
And wow, that's crazy. I mean, yeah, it doesn't have the armor, of some of these other things, such as the tech armor, but it is. I mean, that's good. I didn't think that was, going to be that high of a durability.
I didn't either. So I mean, it's heavy and it's expensive to make as far as collecting the pelt and stuff because you got 320 pelt hair or wool, 53 metal ingots, that is, 40 hide and 18 fiber, but it's gonna withstand a couple thwacks before it breaks. That's pretty cool, which is good because I mean, imagine if it broke, like if it had really crummy durability and it broke after, like, let's say it had a durability of 25 like cloth gear, and you could take 15 to 20 bites from something and then all of a sudden you're naked in the middle of the icebergs and stuff like that. That would be terrible.
Yeah, and on officials, you'd really just probably freeze to death.
Try to get to the best spot to respawn by your bag and hope for the best.
Literally. Unless you're in a cave, then you're really done.
And speaking of caves and stuff like that, the fur gear, according to the wiki, can be found in a deep sea loot crate. So you're not going to be able to find those for the most part above land. You're going to have to go underwater. So no thank you. I will wait to get them from the caves where you can get the higher tier ones. Get you some ascended ones from like the Skylord cave and stuff.
He says no underwater for me.
No, sir. I'd rather fist fight a spider. Um, and a spider in Ark, let me clarify, because I'm not afraid of spiders in real life. I live in Michigan, and we don't have very many venomous things that I have to worry about. So spiders don't really bother me in real life, but the big ones in the game, that's different.
Yep, those spiders in the game are just a little bit scary. The good old brood mother.
Ugh. No, thank you. She reminds me of the Calphite Queen from old school RuneScape, and gives me the heebie-jeebies. One of the bosses I try to avoid.
So Matt, next up we got ghillie gear. I would say one of my most cosmetically favorite ones.
What do you like about it cosmetically? Like the whole ghillie aspect of it?
Yeah, just the aspect, and honestly, like in this game, as we seen in the trailer, like you can actually semi hide in the grass and look at least a little bit like grass.
That's very true. And from a distance, if they don't have, a scoped rifle and they're not watching you and you're not moving, I could definitely see how you could be imperceptible from, probably once you hit the 50, 75 meters plus, I could see it being very, very tough to notice you.
Exactly, and I think especially for PvP, it can be used a little bit. But the only problem that I have with it really is the armor rating's not that great. So first off, you unlock it at level 33, which is this, semi low level. And the armor rating, though, is only 160. Yes, that's higher than a lot of them, but that's like the armor rating's lower than fur gear, which to me is makes sense because I mean you're technically hidden and you wouldn't technically need to use the armor rating, but I mean that's still pretty low to me.
Think about it though this way, like if you look at what fur is made out of, it's very thick. It's meant to be thick insulation from the cold. It's got a thicker hide and pelt to it rather than the ghillie, which is made up of organic polymer, so bug goo and penguin guts and hide and fiber. So it's grass and penguin goop as opposed to thicker hide that's able to withstand a wolf bite.
That is true. That makes sense. I didn't think about it that way, to be honest with you. Good point.
Yeah,
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Mr. Grassman over there.
So now, then you got 24 cold protection, which honestly is it the lowest on the list, right?
Yeah, it's, intended for heat use, so it's definitely going to be the worst installation. I didn't think it was that bad, to be honest with you. I didn't think it was that bad. It's
Yeah,
worse than cloth.
24. That's what I'm saying. How is it worse than cloth? That's crazy to me.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
wild.
So then the heat protection, we got 155, which is, I think, the third highest on the list that we have is the third highest out of all the armors for heat protection. So there's only a few things higher. But
I
for
thought
the
it was second
island,
highest.
I was going to say, actually, it is really the second highest because number one is tech. Oh, I really shouldn't even spoil it, but it's tech armor. I was already going to spoil it.
Spoiler.
Um, spoiler alert. And so yeah, I mean, Gilly's second for heat protection. So I mean, if you ever need to go in the desert in the island, right? Desert in the island makes sense.
Is there?
There's totally a desert in the island. Yeah.
No, there's a volcano, though.
Exactly. Yes. So if you want to go into the volcano, you can bring your ghillie. I don't know why you need to
Or,
go into the volcano with
or the
something
lava
other
cave.
than like tech or flak. Yeah, exactly. You don't need ghillie in that bad boy. And yeah, pretty much, I guess ghillie gear is pointless unless you want to hide. I'm sorry. Okay, but the weight for it is 24.
Nah, it's good for caves, too.
The weight for it is 24, and the durability is 45. Coming out of a deep sea loot crate, so you can't get it up on, the good old just normal drops that drop from the sky. Gotta get it in the good old underwater. So Matt is probably never getting any ghillie blueprints.
Ew. Nope.
But it costs 26 organic poly, 40 hide, 18 fiber. That's actually stupidly cheap to make this whole gear set.
For primitive, yeah. The only issue with the organic polymer is you have to fly out to the penguin area to get a decent amount of it. So get ready to go penguin clubbing, boys.
Yeah, that's the best way to get poly, by the way, is go hit that, well, at least from your hand, is go get him with the club, man. Bang, bang, bang.
Bang, bang, bang. All right, after ghillie, we are looking at chitin armor, which is, the big brother to some of the armor that we've seen earlier here. You're going to have to be level 37 for it. Not to wear it, but to craft it at least. There are 5 pieces, providing 50 armor rating each for a total of 250, which so far in the list that we have covered is the highest armor rating that we have said so far. Um, as far as cold protection goes, it's providing 43 cold protection, which is just above cloth armor. So if you're looking for, protection from the cold, it's really not going to do much. As far as heat protection goes, it is negative 35. So trapping yourself inside a, bug shell, turtle shell armor is probably going to cook you a little bit if you're down by the volcano or in the lava cave.
Yeah, you might get cooked up, man. I don't know. Chitin, I don't know. Chitin's not bad. I'm just like you said, it's the best armor we've got so far on the list. So it is, but I personally, I never use chitin armor because chitin for me is very hard to get, or at least annoying to get, if anything. You gotta go kill bugs, like, or you gotta kill like trikes, different things. But like bugs are the best way to get it. And honestly, I personally am not wearing chitin armor. I would rather use my chitin to make CP.
And that's totally fair. If you have the capability to go into the caves, you can get a lot of bugs really quickly there. And if you dive through the wiki here, you can go to the chitin page on the wiki, and it will tell you exactly which dinos excel the best at collecting chitin. And then you can then take that dino into the cave, whatever the biggest one that will fit into the caves that is the best. You'll be able to harvest a decent amount there in PvE. But PvP, it gets a little bit tougher. So if you're like Jericho and struggling there, then chitin might not be the best for you. But on our PvE server, I believe QC Survivor had found some pretty sweet max armor rating Ascendant flak gear, if I remember correctly. And it was pretty cheap to make as far as Ascendant gear goes. So if you have the ability to go into the caves and do chitin runs super easy peasy on PvE, then it definitely isn't bad. Super cheap, easy to make, pretty high armor rating if you have a good blueprint. It's good with a good blueprint, but primitive, I don't know about that. We talked about the heat. We talked about the cold. Weight is 22, so it's actually lighter than Gilly, which I find surprising.
That just absolutely makes zero sense to me. But hey, there's a logic behind it. And I don't know if you can come up with a logic this time, but I don't know. I can't find one.
No, the most logical thing that I can say, and it's ironic that this is the most logical, is that I guess turtle shell is lighter than penguin guts, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see. Durability, you're looking at 50. So, second highest behind fur here that we have so far. It's coming out of a blue drop, and you can also get them in the deep sea loot crates. You'll probably get the higher durability ones in the deep sea loot crates as well as cave drops. But if you're looking just above ground and level 37, you might not have made it too far off the beach yet. A blue drop is where you're going to look for that.
Yeah. So, Matt, kind of really quick here. We've gone through cloth, hide, fur, gilly, and chitin. If you had to just do a little ranking on them, what would they be?
To be honest with you, fur and gilly are going to be S tier
Okay.
so far because they are absolutely essential for surviving different parts of the map. So if you want to get all the artifacts, you want to do all the boss fights, you want to go to every nook and cranny of the map, you're gonna need those. So S tier for sure.
That makes sense.
Do you agree or disagree
I
with that?
am actually going to agree with you on that, even though I necessarily don't ever use fur because it's annoying and I think it's too heavy for me personally. I think that I would give that definitely an S tier at the moment. And I really just want to because I want to add hide onto that list, but I can't because it's really not that useful. It's just like literally everyone rocks around in hide because you don't get flak for a long time, especially in PvP, unless you're going straight for flak. Like, your first kind of armor is hide. You normally skip the cloth. So the feel moment, I want to add the hide, but no, I agree. Those two are the two S tiers.
I would honestly, I was gonna say hide is an A tier for that exact same reason. It's easily accessible. You get it at a really low level, very cheap to make, and for the level and the low cost of equipment, it is honestly pretty decent as far as armor rating goes. So I would honestly say hide is an A tier just for the early game
I
accessibility.
agree. And having hide, like you said, unlocked at level 15, and then flat gear you don't even unlock until 56. You're going to be rocking with that hide gear for quite a long time. I'm down. Hide A tier.
And then I'd have to honestly say cloth and chitin. Chitin would be a C tier, cloth would be a D tier in my opinion.
Yeah, and personally, chitin has these decent stats, but I would also potentially put chitin in the worst tier. But I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I say just because of its, you know, ease of access for PvE would make it a C tier, but for PvP where it's not good enough to do anything serious and it's just more expensive than necessary, I would honestly say that for PvP, D or F. For PvE, C tier at primitive level.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
All right, that's our halfway point, man. You want to shimmy us on down to the next one
Yeah,
here?
so of course, we're getting to everyone's favorite here. Well, not everyone's favorite. I would just say the good old reliable. We're going back to good old reliable here. We're going with flat gear. Unlocked at level 56. You can go unlock it in your Ingrams. Each piece of armor is worth 100, so that it equals 500. Look at my quick math. Um, and then the cold protection 60. That's kind of in the middle. Maybe towards the higher end of what we've had so far. I think hide is only the higher one so far. And then heat protection is going to be negative 25, which is the same as hide gear actually.
Okay. Oh wow. Oh wow. I didn't even realize that. Okay.
Yeah, that surprises me. I mean, I know it doesn't. It doesn't surprise me actually.
No, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, it doesn't. You're right. At first it did, but it doesn't. I guess it makes me sort of surprised that it's not worse. I would expect it to be a lot worse.
Yeah, I really would too, to be honest.
It,
And this next thing I'm going to say, Matt, this is the biggest surprise to me. And maybe not everyone else is surprised, but I was sitting here dissing on fur gear, which I know you like. I was sitting here dissing on fur gear because it was so heavy. Matt, flat gear is 30. Fur gear is 34. Why am I complaining when it's only 4 more pounds when I always wear flak?
and you know what's wild though? It shouldn't only be 4 more pounds because if you look at the amount of resources needed, fur requires 320 pelt hair wool, 53 metal ingots, 40 hide, and 18 fiber. And flat gear is only 53 metal ingots, 40 hide, and 18 fiber. So it's literally three fewer. No, it's the same amount
Mm-hmm.
of ingots. It just does not require the 320 pelter hair. So you mean to tell me that 320 pelter hair now only costs four?
It's 4 more pounds, I guess. Shoot, you imagine having that much on your
No way.
back? Oh, that's kind of crazy.
It's
Hmm.
wild.
I mean, but they could, the good
But
thing about flak is, I mean, it can be found in above drops on the yellow beacons, deep sea loot crates, cave drops. And flak really is the type of blueprints that you're always looking for. Like I know some people want fur, chitin, ghillie. Like, my favorite thing to find for armor blueprints are always flat gear.
that's fair. I'll give you that. They're solid. It's always seems like at least even the ascendant ones are relatively cheap to make, at least affordable. And every time you find flat gear, everybody's excited. It's one of those things that you're stoked about until you get to really late game, and then you're all looking for riot gear stuff. But flat gear is really useful at any point in time in the game.
Yeah, it's for PvP and PvE. Like, you can stay safe from dinos, you can stay safe from players. There's just, I mean, yeah, I think flak number one, no matter what, on my list.
Yeah, yeah. I honestly think that I might have to agree with you. Another S tier one
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
definitely an S tier. So along with that, though, you know, this is the next
Speaking of S,
thing, the next armor or thing that you can wear is, I know, Matt's personal favorite, scuba gear. So you unlock it at level 81. The armor rating, probably the best armor rating of all. No, I'm just kidding. It's the worst armor rating of all at good old 5. Matt, is this another reason why you don't explore the ocean?
it maybe it could be because it you have to have the scuba gear. It seems like because your fur gear, as soon as you get in the water, becomes completely useless and makes you even colder. So you have to have the scuba gear. It offers literally 5 protection, and unlike all the other ones, every other thing that we have covered, every tier of armor, has equally divided up the armor between each piece. So we've always seen 100 armor with 5 pieces is 20 each. Well, for scuba, all of them are 0 except for the legs. The legs are 5 armor.
Really?
Yeah. And also, fun fact, there's only 4 pieces of scuba equipment, and there's 5 of everything else because there's no gloves.
You're right. But honestly, why would you even need gloves?
Uh, this is meant to be a serious question and not meant to be as snarky as it's probably going to come across. But don't divers like always wear gloves?
I mean, they might. I don't know. I'm not a diver. One time I tried to dive underwater, and just with the little thing, I thought I was gonna have a heart attack. So,
I hate when the little thing makes me have a heart attack.
so no underwater thing for me in real life. I'll do it in Ark all day. Real life, no.
No, man, I'm not doing it. I will not go scuba diving. I would maybe go snorkeling depending on how deep the water is and where I am and how quickly I can, panic scramble onto a boat, but I would absolutely never go scuba diving. Not even in like one of the Great Lakes, not even in Michigan where there's nothing that I really have to worry about. Like, sure, we have sturgeon and like pike and stuff like that, but I really don't think anybody gets attacked by those, so I'm not really too worried about Michigan water, but still, absolutely not. No way.
Yeah, I was just snorkeling, and that's when I was freaking out. So,
Speaking of the cold protection, though, because you need the scuba stuff underwater, it gives you. It says 70 parentheses 270. So I'm assuming that means 70 cold protection out of the water and then 270 cold protection in the water. I'm assuming it's more effective underwater than it is above
I mean,
water.
that's my assumption.
Yeah. Negative 15 heat protection, though. So you can get away with using some of the scuba equipment in the swamp cave as opposed to a gas mask if you haven't quite gotten there yet. Again, see the caving episode with QC Survivor that we had, and that will sort of talk more about that. But you're gonna not be able to utilize that as a reliable heat protection source. Like I said, negative 15 for that. As far as weight goes, we're looking at 23. That is 1 pound heavier than chitin and 1 pound lighter than gilly. So you're sitting right in the middle there between the two. So it's, kind of heavy as far as its armor give back is concerned. So again, only useful underwater. It's got 185 durability though,
Wow.
which makes it very nice. Again, you're in a situation where it would be absolutely catastrophic for your stuff to break. Of course, your scuba tanks break over time when they run out of oxygen, but as far as like your gear goes, thank goodness that's not going to break again.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of the same thing, right? Is this is one of the higher ones on the list here, if not the highest, right? From what we've gone through so far. And that and fur right now are the two highest, and it makes sense because those are the more intense situations. So I agree with what they've done with the durability on these two items.
Absolutely. And I can't remember if I mentioned it earlier or not, so I'm going to say it again. It's level 81 that you get to the scuba gear. So you're talking pretty late game goals here. People aren't venturing out into the ocean. Maybe it's by design that the ocean is so scary in this game because they don't even give you the proper equipment to explore it until level 81. So I don't know if that's like a make sure you're ready before you go into it yet, or if that's like a hey, you just spent your entire game being terrified of this area, now have fun going to explore it. Because what's the name? Is it Lovecraftian horror? Whatever type of horror that is, they're doing a good job. When you are getting the scuba gear, ironically enough, you're going to get it from a deep sea loot crate. So hold your breath until you get to the bottom and get that gear out of the crate there. But you're going to need 87 hide, 23 fiber, 12 chitin or keratin, 16 metal ingots, 6 cementing paste, 7 silica pearls, 43 polymer, and 10 crystal to craft an entire set, all 4 pieces of scuba gear. Now, it's not like a large quantity of anything, but that's a decent amount of pain in the butt resources, you know what I mean? If you don't have cementing paste, you got to go get it or make it. The silica pearls, the polymer, the crystal. It's labor intensive, but it's not expensive.
Yeah, it's just a lot of different things to get. Like that's the longest one we've had on our list. Most of these other ones are like, 2 or 3 or 4 items. Like this one feels like it's 20 of them.
Sure feels like it. Making our way to the bottom of the list as far as naturally unlocked engrams go, because tech armor is a whole new beast, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But Riot gear, level 98. You've almost hit the quote-unquote natural max level of your character at 100, not counting all the other, fun stuff that you can do to add extra levels. You have now earned 115 armor for each of the 5 pieces for 575 total armor, which is 75 higher than the flak. So you're looking at the best armor that we have covered so far in the game. It boasts a cold protection of 60, which is again identical to the flak, and the riot gear is equivalent to the flak. For heat protection, negative 16.8. So you're not taking riot gear with you probably into the volcano. You're not taking it with you into the lava cave or other really hot areas. And if you are, make sure that you have the proper consumables to counter that. Again, check out the caving episode for that fun little fact there. Weight though, Jericho, you were complaining about 34 for the fur.
Yes.
We were talking about 30 for the flat gear. Riot is 42.
Yeah. Nope. Nope. I'm sorry. Pointless to me. Riot. All you people can love Riot. A lot of people like Riot. Nope. 42. Man, I'm probably averaging between 250 and 300 weight on an official server if I'm playing PvP, because you got to have your stats into other things, right? So I'm not carrying around Riot. Honestly, with 42 weight and 120 durability, that is the same as flak. I'm carrying around flat gear, which is literally 12 pounds or 12 weight lower. I'm carrying around flat gear every day of the week. I do not care if it has just 75 more armor. That is no. Me personally, black all day.
That is just shy of a hide gear boost. So I mean, ask yourself, would you be willing to carry around an extra set of hide gear for that level of armor rating boost? No, because that's got 100 armor rating. I lied. You're looking at 75. So we're gonna say a cloth set and a half bonus. That is definitely not worth the 12 weight. I would have to agree with you that riot gear, even from a PvE point of view, in my opinion, seems almost relatively worthless unless you are doing something where you are literally expecting to get the crap kicked out of you.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't even know if I'm still wearing it, to be honest, because I don't know. I mean, it's also hard to get, right? I mean, deep sea loot crates, it takes 245 poly, 138 pearls, 40 hide, 18 fiber, and 35 crystal. So that's a lot of poly.
That is a lot of poly, and poly is like gold in a lot of these official servers right now. So that, sure, you could get that done with a couple quick trades, but that's a pretty decent grind, especially if everybody in the tribe needs a pair. If you got 4 people in your tribe and you're trying to make a set of riot gear for everybody, that's almost 1,000 polymer that you're coming up with.
Yeah, that's a long time grinding.
Yeah, when on the other hand, flak could be done with 53 metal ingots, 40 hide, and 18 fiber, which you can get done with a metal pickaxe in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, flat gear all the way, man.
100%. I gotta put riot gear, unpopular opinion maybe with the viewers here, but I think you're gonna agree with me. I think riot gear is gonna have to go in D tier.
Is that going with hide or cloth?
That was going with cloth because hide was an A tier.
Yep,
I thought.
that's correct. I was just making sure. I was trying to remember. Refresh everyone's memory here because my memory's bad. So I am going to agree with you. Like you said, I think this is actually an unpopular opinion. And I think that, yeah, it needs to be on one of the lower tiers. Riot gear, I'm not going to say useless, but you're not very good.
Yeah, you got very niche uses, and it is not my cup of tea, that's for sure.
Yep.
Now we are talking the mythical, the legendary, everybody's favorite to talk about, everyone's favorite to dream about, but it seems like nobody really uses, the tech armor.
Woo!
This is not unlocked at any specific level. In order to unlock this, you must beat all bosses. Some of them are unlocked on the gamma level, some of them are unlocked on the alpha level. I recommend you just beat all 3 bosses on the alpha level to make sure you get all the engrams. But once you have beaten all 3 bosses at the appropriate levels, you will then unlock the tech armor. There are 5 pieces of the tech armor, just like everything else, and each one has its own, nifty little quote-unquote superpowers, if you will. Like, the boots, I think, are a jetpack, or is it the backpack that's a jetpack?
I want to say it's the backpack.
Yeah, backpack are that, and then there's like something fancy about the pockets and the weight distribution for the pants or something like that. I don't remember. The visor is essentially like a fancy spyglass, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're able to just, I don't know how to. Yeah, it's pretty much like a fancy spyglass, to be honest.
What's that mod? Isn't it like the Spyglass Plus or whatever
Yeah,
like that is essentially the same thing as the Tech Visor?
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So, I mean, each one has their own nifty little superpowers, but it requires element to power it. So, not only do you need the element to make it, but you need the element to power these abilities. And I mean, sure, it does cool stuff. Like you can breathe underwater, you can do all the other stuff we talked about, and that's all great. But it's expensive. And if you're not consistently pounding out these boss fights, then you're not going to have the element to sustain that long term use, which is probably why we don't see it used a whole lot, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that, it's really for the advanced people, and you have to be able to probably have a lot of people in your tribe and different things like that. But I mean, if you can afford it, it really is the best armor. I mean, like, like you said, we got the jetpack with it. You got the boots that, make it so you take no fall damage. Like, I mean, it's really helpful when you have tech.
Oh,
But
yeah.
it's like you said, it's hard to take care of. Honestly, you have to spend that element to actually make it, and then spend element to use the jetpack and use the like, the fist punch forward and stuff like that. Like, there's a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, if you happen to be swimming an element and you happen to be able to sustain that, then first off, you're in a much better spot than I have ever been in a tribe. And also, you are going to look at 900 armor rating. That is a significant jump from even Riot Gear at
Yeah.
575. But I mean, that's a massive, massive jump. You got 180 armor per piece, so even if you can only craft and sustain 2 or 3 pieces, 2 would be 360, and it would scale on mathematically, so on from there. So you don't need the full set to even still at that point easily surpass all of the other armor sets.
Yeah, that tech really overall is the best. It's just so hard to get. I mean, I we say it's hard, but I mean, you got people like you said, like they're like swimming in element right now, and just saying like, wow, these stranded survivors people must suck.
Noobs. Well, I mean, if you are able to craft it and sustain it, it gives you 255 cold protection, which is 6 higher than fur gear, and it gives you 208 heat protection, which is 53 higher than ghillie gear. So it's the best in both of those fields. And combined with an otter, like we talked about earlier, how the damage percent scales with the insulation, you're pretty much going to be immune to everything, regardless of what the fortitude level you have or whatever the skill is you can
Yep.
upgrade. Um, the weight is 23, so that is just under ghillie gear, which just above chitin. So that's pretty cheap as far as all things considered, especially when you hear what it's made of later on. There's 120 durability. So again, that consistent number between riot gear, flat gear, and tech, 120, just under the 125 of fur and well below the 185 of scuba, but obviously, much higher as far as armor rating goes. It is not available in any drops anywhere. You have to craft this. You have to earn the element from the boss fights. You have to then craft the replicator, and then you then have to craft the tech armor in the replicator. So it is not found in any beacons or drops. And if you want to craft a full set of tech armor, you are going to need 600 poly, 2,250 ingots, 600 crystal, 100 elements, 275 black pearls, and then element to power it at that point. I would say, based on, messing around with stuff that I've done in my single player with my kid, I would honestly say you probably need maybe 10 element per night to power it if you're really, really messing around and being silly.
Yeah, it takes a little bit, and you're gonna be running boss fights every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if that's some people's preferred grind, I mean, I'm an old school RuneScape player, so I understand grinding these bosses. And if that is your preferred way to play the game, absolutely knock yourself out. Have a blast. You're going to have so much element. Or even if that's what you're trading for on your server, because remember, even when these server transfers drop and new maps drop and stuff like that, you can transfer crafted things. Like I can make a replicator or a transmitter and I can bring it over to your server and trade it to you, but I cannot trade you the raw element. So element is not a tradable resource, but the craftable things are. So keep that in mind with all of your diplomacy and trades that you have coming up, okay? Um Dang. I think, let's see, we talked about the armor protection from damage. I talked about the ratio and the, calculations and math behind all of that. So I feel like my brain can't handle any more than that. Um if you go onto the armor page for the official wiki, they have a nifty little test case here where there's a cool graph and it talks about, different damage modifiers applied to different armors and how that equation comes out mathematically. So if you're a numbers person and you want to look at it, it's got numbers like for conversation. Chitin armor has 5 pieces, a 250 armor rating, 71.43% of all damage will be reduced, so therefore it has 350% EHP. Like it's got all of that stuff for all the different armor ratings. You can go through and look at it. Unsurprisingly, scuba gear is the lowest, cloth armor would be the next, and then it scales all the way up to tech armor, which is significantly better than
Hmm.
everything else. Really, on average, it says against most creatures, for every 16 damage that gets mitigated by armor, 1 piece of your durability is lost on your armor. So for every 16 damage you do not receive, your armor loses 1 durability, is the math that it boils down to. We were talking about that
Yep.
earlier. There's a real cool little cheat sheet back there as well, so highly recommend you go check out that wiki for any additional information you may want. But fun fact, with the exception of the tech helmet, that is not the case there. Most of the headpieces can apparently be worn by a handful of dinos. We talked about, in one of the episodes, we talked about how we thought a wolf could have a helmet applied to it, and that was the case for Survival Evolved at one point, but is no longer the case for Survival Ascended. So take that into consideration that any of these may, asterisk may be incorrect, but according to the wiki, you can add helmets, not including the tech helmet, to a Achatina, the snail. See, the Bulldog's not out yet. Dinopithecus, Featherlight, Gigantopithecus, Glowtail, Jerboa, Mesopithecus, Otter, Shinehorn, Sonoma Crabs, Ferox. So most of those aren't out yet, but the Achatina, the Gigantopithecus, which is the Bigfoot, the Mesopithecus, which is the little shoulder monkey, and Otter, and I think that's it for the island. So those are the ones that you're able to stick a helmet on, and that again will be more armor applied to that creature that's on your shoulder to help keep it alive, to help mitigate some of that cold or heat for you if that's what you're using it for. Otherwise, it's just going to help it stay alive longer. So, pro tip, armor is your friend.
Armor is definitely your friend.
Man. All right. So, it is about that time. We're hitting the end of the armor segment here, and we're about to jump into the next segment that we have planned. But I think in the event that Spotify is going to gift us a little automated ad here, we're going to take a slight break. So prepare to potentially hear an ad. Otherwise, we're going to continue on with our segment if it does not play the automated ad. So be prepared for a break here, folks. Alrighty, folks, we are back from what may or may not have been an ad. I'm still confused about how these automated ads work. So if there wasn't one, then I just sound crazy and totally ignore me. But Jericho, what is next for us now that we have wrapped up armor?
Drum roll, please. It's a new segment here as Stranded Survivors, and it is going to be Content Creator of the Week. Yes, we have been watching a lot of content creators as of recently, and we would love to shout you guys out for all of your great work. So if you're a content creator, keep posting in the Discord or just keep posting on YouTube. You don't have to be in the Discord, but as always, it is appreciated so we can see those videos. In the Content Creator of the Week for the first week here at Stranded Survivors is going to be none other than Teacher's Game 2. This man is an Ark legend. He teaches you how to do anything you want in all of Ark. He just released ways to be able to get the box of chocolates, the dino candy for the event, and he's released it quick. This man is always on top of everything he does. And honestly, Matt and I both love his videos. So, Teacher's Game 2, thank you
Absolutely.
very much. Keep up the great work.
If you listen, please reach out because I would love to pick your brain about a couple things Ark related. So, incoming DMs calling you out. He's a really good one though. Teacher to teacher, I appreciate his delivery. He does a really good job explaining things in a matter-of-fact way, and he's also very informative and comprehensive in the way he teaches things. So if you are trying to learn the location of something, learn how to do something, there's a good chance he has made a video on it, and I highly recommend you check it out. One of the good ones out there as far as actually teaching you rather than showing you.
Yes, thank you very much. Congrats on being the first one here as Stranded Survivors for Content Creator of the Week. If you guys want, who's going to be next week? Can you be next week? Make sure to check it out next week to see who it's going to be.
All right. Well, it's going to be real short and sweet here. We've got a little update on some of the tribe stuff going on and some of our Ark life going on. The tribe has sort of really slowed down. Everyone's waiting on the release of the center. People are sort of talking official servers rather than private servers and boosted servers and stuff like that. So, in my personal preference, I would love us to. We're going to try to figure out, cost and how many people we need and stuff like that. I would like to get a private server going for all of us because I think that would be a lot of fun. I'm honestly a little burned out on the official grind right now, so I have not played official in I don't even know how long, like a month probably. Uh, BC is our tribe, so shout out to BC because anything that we still have at this point is once again 100% thank you to BC for keeping it from despawning for us. So anybody in the Discord who sees that fella sounding off, make sure to give him a pat on the back because we greatly appreciate him. And when the center comes out, like I'm definitely open to continuing the official grind on the center, but I'm really looking for a private server. Then I've been in that regard, I've been playing a lot of single player, and I've been putting all of my Ark time on my single player. I started a new game because I had tainted my other one with creative mode and stuff like that. So I deleted that entire save. I am starting all over from scratch, and it's still pretty boosted. I have auto tame and stuff like that, but I'm just messing around with different mods and enjoying the game and not wasting it with admin commands this time.
Yeah.
What about you, man? You have anything fun that you've been doing that you haven't already told us about? Because I know you mentioned the PvP stuff earlier, but anything specific you want to talk about?
No, honestly, shout out to BC. Like you said, I'm gonna try to play here every once in a while, especially during the Valentine's Day event here. That because that event is always fun. Kind of just maybe get us some cool colored dinos. We'll see how much time I actually play. But other than that, I just want to say, just so everyone knows, we have another new segment that we're still doing. So be ready for this one because honestly, this one is very fun and it's definitely going to be our question at the end. So make sure you guys are listening.
Oh yeah. Oh shoot, we were supposed to do that one before this past segment. I skipped it. Uh,
Well,
well, without further ado, I guess are you ready to introduce that segment?
yes, I am. So another new segment here that we're going to be introducing every single week, and we are going to make you guys have to wait until next week to get the question or to get the answer to this question. And what it is going to be is we are going to play you a dino sound from Ark, and you have to guess which dino it is going to be. Honestly, this is some of them are going to be very easy, and some of them are going to be very hard. I really wanted to start you guys out with an easy one, but I think this one's actually a little hard. I got to trick you guys on the first one.
Okay. Fun fact, I cannot hear any of it at all, so my guess would be as good as useless.
Yeah, I don't think I can play it throughout here, so.
I'm going to go ahead and say raptor just because I didn't hear it. So I'm going to just guess.
Great. Matt guesses raptor. I'm not going to guess at all because I already know what it is and I wouldn't even need to guess. But no, make sure you guys leave the answer to the question, and we will let you guys know next week on what the answer to that question is, or what the answer to the sound is, because I really think I'm going to stump a lot of people with this one. So let me know, or let us know.
Yeah, and start a debate in the Discord here, because once I'm editing the episode, I'll be able to hear it for the first time, and then I'll sort of have a real guess, and maybe I'll tell you guys, excuse me, maybe I'll tell you guys in the Discord what my real guess is after I start my editing process, but, for right now, blind guesses, and in the Discord, I want to start this conversation, as well as answering that question attached to this episode. It should be in the little, community involvement thing below. You're also, I'm going to say it once and we'll say it again probably, you're also going to find the link to join the Discord in the description below. So if you are on Spotify, look down where it says see more, click that little choo-choo-choo, and then there's going to be a few links, and those are all our social medias, so come on down.
Yeah, make sure to go, like, comment, subscribe, any of the YouTube videos, different things like that. Just got to get that little plug in. We're gonna make sure we're posting all of the episodes here on, our YouTube. Make sure all those are getting out so you guys are up to date on the people that listen on YouTube.
I'm trying to pull up the stuff from last episode here. So in our last episode, we asked everybody, would you participate in a private server if we started one? There were a few options. It looks like 30% of you were saying, at the time of recording, 30% said yes, any map, PvP or PvE. We had 10% of you said yes, only PvP. 50% of you said yes, only PvE. Nobody says only on the center. 10% of you said yes, only on the island. And nobody said no thank you. So, I'm seeing 10 people here that would be interested in joining a private server with us as long as we can set it up right. And, I'm open for debate. So maybe I'll create a thread in the Discord where we can sort of have a debate about how you guys would want it set up. And we can then continue to gauge interest and, figure out the size and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. To make sure you guys continue to, go vote on those things. We really do, always check them out even before we end up posting it on here, talking about it, because we just love it. So thank you guys for voting.
Yeah. And then the other part of it, if you were to keep an Ark Dino as a pet, what would it be and why? We have 4 responses. The first one, of course, our most faithful answerer, Sonic Speed, aka
Hail Hydra!
Hydra. He says, Direwolf, loyal, no saddle needed, which means cheaper, and it's so furry and lovable, plus it's just a giant puppy. Also, my second favorite animal in the world is a wolf, so direwolf inevitably. That's a solid answer. I absolutely love me a wolf, and we're on the same page there that is a fantastic choice.
Awesome. I'm down with that.
Dude, nobody would ever be able to rob your house. Could you imagine, a burglar? I'm up to no good. And as soon as they come into your kitchen, they turn around and they see a 210-pound direwolf just standing there staring at them.
That would be scary.
That would be terrible. The next answer we had was from, I'm not sure how this person wants to be addressed, so they are please welcome to DM me and tell me how they want it to be addressed, because we had talked about it sort of being a different circumstance. But this person answered Thylacoleo, nimble, great climber and caver, ferocious when needed, and it oops, clicked the wrong one. And it looks freaking amazing and mean. You are not wrong. The Thylacoleo, again, along the same length here. Imagine you go onto somebody's property and you just see a Thyla hanging from a tree watching you. Like, I don't want to
This
be here
would
anymore.
fit this person very well, and it was a great thing to say.
Absolutely. Good answer. Brandon V, we got Quetzal, because nobody likes traffic, and who
Okay.
wouldn't want a giant
Yes.
flying dino? You know, they're cool. They're really cool, but there's just something about them that freak me out. I don't, maybe it's Jurassic World watching I think they were pteranodons or whatever it was that was carrying people off. Like, for some reason, a Quetzal just seems like a giant version of that to me, and it gives me a concern.
No,
But that would be a really good answer because it would be very, very convenient.
I like it. I mean, it's a little slow. I don't know if it can go faster than cars, but you could build a house on it just like Ark. You know, a little platform saddle, have your breakfast on there. Be a great little drive to work, man.
It'd be a great drive to work until it gets sick or until it dies of old age or something like that, and then your entire house is now sitting on a rotting carcass.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
All right. That is a good answer though, Brandon. Good answer. Good answer. Good answer. Survey says. Up next we got Gabriel, and Gabriel has answered it would be Megatherium. I hate bugs, and he would kill them all
Amen.
for me. You are not
Amen.
wrong. You would have a bug-free.
Yes,
property.
and I actually would enjoy that. I would bring that camping with me.
Oh yeah, that would actually be really solid. Having a Megatherium sitting with you while you're camping. All the Ark dinos. Oh my goodness, an entire collection. I changed my answer. We're having the sound bite of the who's that Dinomon thing for all my '90s kids. We're having that be a poll, and the question is now: if you're going camping, what are the 3 dinos you need to bring with you to go camping? Please let me know. Jericho, what are the ones you're bringing? Are you sticking with the Megatherium for
Honestly, I'm probably bringing a Megatherium. Like that's Gabriel that was a great, like I like all these other ones, right? Direwolf, Loyal, like nothing's gonna get to you. Thylaco, I wouldn't personally love to climb, but I could see how people would love to climb, and those things really are ferocious than just camping trees. Quetzal, like I said, man, you could build your own little house on there, but you're right, it could rot a little bit. But Gabriel, this man, first off, has answered multiple times throughout multiple episodes. So thank you, Gabriel. You are the man. But no, Megatherium gotta be up there. I right now can't think of anything else off the top of my head. So yes, I'm going to go Megatherium at 1.
Okay. Your one-man crew? That you said you can't think of any other ones? So.
Yep, that's all I got right now.
I got you, okay. I am going to have to bring a Megatherium with me because I don't want bugs on my camping trip. So I think that's a fantastic idea, and I'm going to have to steal it. I think my second one is probably going to be a Therizino, one of my favorite dinos ever, and the ability to gather firewood is pretty sweet, as well as, berries and stuff like that to eat.
Yeah.
And then for my third one, I think I want to go with a dire bear because, in the great words of Brick Tanner, it's like a giant furry tractor.
Yeah, honestly, it's not bad. I think I'm also going Thylaco Nope. I'm going Therizino, to be honest, on the camping trip. It's Therizino, Megatherium for sure. Those are like number 1 and 2.
Yep.
And like number 3, I feel like could be interchangeable because it depends. Are you going on like what kind of camping trip are you going on, Like that's what it depends on.
Very true. A dolphin would be good if you're going to like, Lake Michigan or something, a living biological jet ski.
Yep, or you could do a Doedicurus, help you build some stone structures.
Hey, there you go. Because that's exactly what I want to do on my camping trip is build a fort made out of stone.
Yes, and then I'm gonna build a city with my Doedicurus.
The state campground is like, sir, you need to stop. That's a national monument. You need to knock that off.
Why are you breaking off the head of a president with your Dode Icarus.
Sir, please leave Lincoln's nose. All right. So yeah, let us know in the comments below. There is a little community question section for you to answer. I want to know what 3 or up to 3 dinos you are bringing camping with you and what they're gonna do for you. If you don't have enough room, then just let me know, I guess, what you need to bring with you. We talked about what you want as a pet. Now I want to know for camping. It's a weird little tangent we're going on, but we invested in it and we're doing it, darn it. The last thing that I wanted to update you guys on was the Patreon. We had talked about when that was going to happen, what it's going to look like. As of right now, we have not really changed too much what it's going to look like from what we had announced previously. We will probably give you one more update on that here at the end of this month. But as of right now, I would love for our Patreon to go live on March 1st. So if you would like to, help support the cause, again, it's always weird for me to be like, hey, give us money. But, if you want to support the cause, we would definitely appreciate the support. It would help fund a private server. It would help fund better equipment for all of us, a better recording space. And we would also like to save it up because I would kind of like to do, once we get a big enough community and stuff, it would be cool to do like a yearly convention or something like that where we all meet up someplace. We all go to some Comic-Con or we all go to some public event someplace that is convenient for everybody to meet up, and we just do something cool and, get to hang out. That would be cool.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, so that can all be assisted with through the Patreon. So again, keep your eyes peeled for that on March 1st, okay? Aside from that, we're an hour and a half in now. By the time I edit it down, it won't be that long, but it's been a good one. So hopefully we answered all of your questions for armor. Hopefully we left nothing, to be desired as far as information delivery goes. Please let us know in the Discord if there was any additional information you want clarification on or anything we didn't quite touch on, because I've got a whole stack of notes here in front of me that I would love to talk about. So feel free. I look forward to it. Anything else you've got, Jericho?
I hope everyone enjoyed all of our new segments here as Stranded Survivors. If you have any ideas, let us know. We hope that, us getting back on track with some bread and butter, some information for you guys, is going to just kind of excel us here, bring a little bit of a higher quality. So if you guys did enjoy, make sure to let us know, either at our Discord or any social media. Thank you guys very much if you listen this far. As always, you guys are appreciated. Keep up the great work and keep on surviving.
Keep on surviving, folks. Thank you very much. Have a great week. We will see you next Wednesday. See you later, folks.
See ya.